All right, Jason Wilde, welcome to Grimerica. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
How you doing?
Pretty good, man. A little cold, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I was excited when I noticed Darren had booked you because I've been following you on X and I don't know where else, but just and it's you seem to be into so many different interesting things that kind of fit with us. So I thought it'd be fun to chat with you about all this stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm into all kinds of bizarre stuff. I mean, people have called me weird ever since my very first day at public school. Yeah. Very first
Oh,
day, I remember trying to have a conversation with a kid, and he just looked at me and he said, "You're weird." And he ran away. And
wow.
it's kind of been the story of my life.
Well, weird is cool now. I mean, it's coming back into fashion. So
Well, let's hope so.
I mean, even with just ancient mysteries and cataclysms and the stuff you talk about, the deep religious stuff, like people are kind of
Hmm.
accepting it. Like 15, I felt like there was a bit of a fight 15 years ago with sort of the new atheists and the materialists. I
Yeah.
feel like, and then we kind of started up our podcast in 2013, but now, I mean, everything has kind of changed. It seems like it's way more open. There's a lot of
Let's
people.
say
Well,
it's
the
it's like a
battlefront.
really it's a big pattern, right? I mean, you're always going to find religion and spirituality increase when financial systems go down. So the shittier we see the world, the more you're going to have spirituality come up. And then vice versa, right? When you talked about materialism in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, it's pretty much an atheist society, right? Where they believed in the structure of merchandise over the unseen in the spirituality aspect of all of our lives.
And the battlefront has kind of just changed. I mean, now it's like the spirituality stuff and the UFO stuff, that's all over the place, but you just
Mm-hmm.
can't tell the truth anymore about other things. Or, there's just certain stuff you can't say, which was never really the case with this kind of stuff, right? That people would
Mm-hmm.
call us crazy or weird or whatever, but they would never like cancel us for it.
That's right.
Nowadays, they'll just you can get canceled for whatever. And it's weird how the social media landscape has changed too. Like I remember when we first started, when you posted something, everyone who saw you seen it. Everyone who
Mm-hmm.
followed you seen it. And nowadays it's like we got 40,000 followers on Twitter. And if I make a post, I'm lucky if 200 people
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, it's the same. Same with me as well.
Unless you go and comment, unless you're arguing, they're
Mhm.
not giving you any sort of traction. It's just this weird thing that has geared the world towards confrontation, it seems like.
Totally. Because it's interesting.
Yeah, even in these spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the UFO wars, right? Look at all the arguments about aliens and UFOs. And it's like, what are we arguing about? You know?
Whereas like before, it's like that split started when like Jacques Vallée and a couple of these guys started saying it's well, I don't think was it physical? Was that the first thing, or was it
Mm-hmm.
dimensional or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was? And that was like this first sort of, and Graham will probably comment on this a bit better than I do because he's a UFO guy, but that seemed from the outside, that seemed like this first sort of rift that started happening as
Yeah.
some guys were like, it's physical, it's nuts and bolts, and other guys were like, well, I'm not so sure. And now, I mean, now all bets are off. They're fighting about everything. They're literally,
Mm-hmm.
sort of found dividing lines on every aspect of the UFO community to
Absolutely everything. And I mean, the argument is silly if you actually pay attention to the ancient texts and spirituality. I mean, they all talk about these things, right? They all talk about Vimanas or flying craft or beings coming from the sky or beings coming from the ocean or beings coming out of a cave. You know, you have the ant people, all these different things, but there's literally no proof of any of it, right? It doesn't mean that it's not real. But when you actually go deeper into the texts, what they say is all of these things are a reflection of the universe itself, right? So none of it is real. So in the grand scheme of things, every piece of spirituality states that this environment that we're in is not real. It's completely illusory. It doesn't exist, and what exists is consciousness, the Godhead, whatever it is, right? You know how everybody says that, you are God. You are
yeah,
God.
you're responsible for generating a portion of the reality.
Yeah, and
Which
so,
is kind of why the Mandela effect and all those things sort of start to come into play. All bets are sort of
mhm,
off. It's just like if you can get enough people because you have a giant swath of people that don't care if it's Berenstein or Berenstain.
yeah, Yeah.
And then you have some people on this side and some people on that side. And it's like, if you can get to some sort of, I've heard the numbers even as low as like 3%. We've had that guy on the show that say, if you can get 3% is sort of this like snowballing spot where if you can get 3% of the population sort of on board with something, you can sort of start to snowball things into reality. And it's just sort of different levels of that manifestation sort of game.
What I'm saying is that what they're studying is completely wrong. They're studying the wrong thing. They're studying the emergent property of what's coming out of consciousness. Let's say these things are real or not real, whatever they are, interdimensional. Is that they're coming from a source, right? And the same source is where we come from. Honestly, it's really that simple. It really is that simple. Now, the mechanics behind it all are not simple because we don't understand them.
So that we have more autonomy or control over our reality than is that what you're kind of saying? And they've always said that in the ancient past.
What I'm saying,
it's not real because a lot of it is how we react to it, and a lot of it is how we're fearful of it, that kind of thing.
To put it all in a like a Cole's Notes version, this is God playing hide and go seek with himself. That's what it is. The whole everything. Aliens, demons, the jinn, fish, people, planets, universes is God playing hide and go seek with himself.
Can you unpack that?
Yeah, I mean, we have all of our ancient teachings say that there's one God, right? You can say that there's multiple gods in, say, Hinduism, and there is, but there is an ultimate Godhead at the top of it all. And all these people that go into meditation, and I don't just mean like sitting quietly and meditating, but the people that pray for meditation, or the people that sing, the people that draw, the people that create things with their hands, they all end up seeing the same thing, that we're all one. It's all one being. And there is no free will, zero. It is all being done through lawful measures. So, I mean, just for an example, if you look at a beaver, what does a beaver do?
Builds dams.
Right. And then what does a bee do? It builds hives. And then you can look at all these different species around the world, and they all have a function, and they all follow laws. Completely. And so do you.
The bee has like a final thing is the hive. That's the final complete thing. The bee builds. The other example also has a final state. What's our final state? What are we trying to build?
And that's just it. That's the question. What is it? What is our function? What is the human function? Everything has a function, no matter what. And they all abide by laws. Physical laws, chemistry, physics, you name it, any type of science, they all follow a law. So why would we be any different?
Because we've been genetically engineered by ETs in the past or something. I mean, is that so? Does that still apply if we've been tampered with?
It doesn't. It doesn't apply at all because it still is the same thing.
It seems to, though, because there's this like innate human experience is to build things. It's like that you could take some dudes and throw them on an island full of ice, and they're gonna figure some shit out, and they're gonna have some weird ice cave system, and they're gonna figure out, we're just not.
So is that our function? Is that what the function is?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It's like we can't zoom out enough to really know what we're after. It's like the first thing we had to do was get all over this globe, and sort of now we're building up this communication network so we can communicate around it. So it would be hard to argue against that it's something to do with building machines. That seems to be where we gravitate to as tools and machines, and now machines that can think. And it's sort of it's almost like we're here to crack the code, because I get the sense that there's nothing else on this planet. I mean, maybe dolphins or maybe monkeys, or maybe I'm ignorant, but it doesn't seem like anything else is super interested in figuring out the world at the rate we are. They're more interested in staying in their corner.
I would say you're correct. Yeah, at least to what we know of, right? At least to our understanding. But I mean, would you agree with me that everything follows a law?
I can't remember who the guest was. It might have been Eric Wargo that I got to listening to in our back catalog, which it's weird to listen to yourself, but now we're at the point where we've got some episodes that are so old that I've completely forgotten the content in them. So I just want to come on and I'll just sort of get to listening to it. And we were actually having the debate on that show 10 or 12 years ago about free will. And I think what we were talking about then, how it seems to be free will works fine on the micro, but it doesn't seem to work on the macro. And the argument would be defined on whether all those micro free will decisions even affect the macro at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. They do. It's like a big domino, basically, is what it would be. I mean, we judge humans, right? We tend to judge them all the time based on everything. But when you see a lion attack a zebra, do you judge the lion? Right? I mean, we look at all the atrocities that we commit, but the atrocities that we commit are based on laws. It's the same as the lion. Do you know what I mean? It's just our function might be a little bit different.
Don't we have a little more control over it though? Like, because if we start meditating and we start discerning what our thoughts are and our instincts, I mean, don't we have a little more control over? I mean, just magic is real. I mean, I believe magic is real. So what are we doing when we're using magic or we're practicing rituals that change the way reality appears to us? Like, so I feel like that's instinct and that's like a law, and we have some of that, but I think we have a deeper level of consciousness, don't we, where we have some say in what
No.
what happens. No,
Maybe till your kids are threatened or something like that, and then the sort of programming kicks in, the laws kick in when we feel threatened. That's what I would think. I'd like to hear Jason's thoughts on that, but that makes me think that it's like you can pretend all this new age stuff, but when the rubber hits the road, that's when the instinct is going to kick in. When you have no food, when you have no water, when you feel threatened, when your survival is threatened.
I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you know what you're going to think next?
I wish. But it's going to be great. I know that.
It will be. It'll be beautiful and it'll be perfect. It'll absolutely be perfect. But you don't know. And therefore, there's another little bit of nuanced evidence that free will does not exist.
Yeah, but can't you control that? I mean, through mindfulness and stuff like that, you can control.
You can get outside of it to see it.
Yeah.
Per se, I'm using the word see because you're not actually seeing
behind the.
But if you meditate long enough and you're doing it from a compassionate place in your heart, and you have removed many things that you cling to. So, I can't go anywhere without my girlfriend. My girlfriend's got to be with me. She's got to be with me. And then you have to remove things that you push away. So I will never go to New York City. Fuck New York City. I hate that place. I'm never going. You have to break down those things. And when you start to break down those things, you're able to empty your mind. And when you empty your mind, you will see, and I'm using the word see in like parentheses, you'll see that it's all perfect, and you'll see it all working, and you'll see it, and the only thing that will cross your mind is perfect and beautiful.
And let's just explain you have a lot of context behind thinking this way. Like, you're a hypnotist, right? You help people get to that state of nothingness, I guess, right? So you have specific experience on getting to this state, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spent about 4 years in India. So I got stabbed at work, and I decided to take some time off, just to reassess my life. I was a maximum security prison guard. I don't know if you know where Kent is. Kent in BC, up by Agassiz. So I worked there, and I decided I'm going to go to Nepal. I had no reason, no idea why. I just said, fuck it, I'm going to Nepal. And so I went to Nepal, and I did the Everest trek. I trekked along, and I did the Everest thing, and I did the base camps, and, did Everest. And on my way back down, I was finished, and I was getting ready to, get my ticket ready to fly out, in the next couple of days. And I was in a tea house in Punjab province up in northern India. And I got up in the morning, and I walked outside, and I was just, getting ready for the morning. And there was a dude sitting in the middle of the road, levitating, literally levitating. I was pissed off. I looked at him, and I was like, yeah, you're kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So I don't know what came over me. I just ran over, and I rolled underneath him. I just did it. I expected to hit something. There's nothing there. Nothing. So I looked at the guy, and he looked at me, and he said, I've been waiting for you.
Wow.
I spent the next 4 years with him in the jungle in India.
Wow.
And this man taught me levels of awareness that I didn't even know existed. He taught me compassion. He taught me grace. He taught me the fundamentals of yoga, real yoga, not hatha yoga, not stretching. That is not yoga. Anyone that says they're a yoga instructor that does stretching, hatha yoga, they don't know anything about yoga, just so you know. There are multiple forms of yoga. There's karma yoga, there's jnana yoga, there's bhakti yoga, and there's guru kripa. And guru kripa is where you follow a guru. Now, this man that I followed, he was outside of being a human, I guess is how I would say it. If you ever meet one of these people, you can tell by the way they walk. I can't even explain what I mean by that, but when you see one, you'll know. You'll know. You'll just know by the way they walk. It is extremely rare to find one of these people. We would consider them gurus in India. You would call them great saints in Christianity, different names, oracles, whatever they are. But this individual here was free of karma, absolutely free, completely. He could read my mind. He could make things appear in his hand. And I can't prove that it's a magic trick or not. But I mean, this guy could read my fucking mind. Like literally deepest, darkest things from my childhood, knew about them. And he helped me. He helped me with them.
Wow.
And
how long ago was that?
I left. I came back about 2017.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Why'd you come back? You were done? How'd you know you were done?
He told me to leave.
He said, just get out of here.
I got
Did
up
you
one
look like
morning
you
and
become
he
friends?
said, Jiao. And that basically means get lost.
Really?
And I was like, well, what the hell are you doing? Like, I love it here. And he's like, it's time for you to go back and start teaching people. You got to teach the West.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm doing. And that's why I stay away from the promotions and stuff like that. It's just part of my teachings.
Yeah.
It's just speak from your heart. And then if people listen, they listen.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, they'll get it in another life.
Yeah. Oh man. So I mean, I got so many questions now after that. I mean, so 2017. So interesting time.
Did you still have stuff here then, or were you just sort of a nomad? Were you in nomad mode?
Well, I initially wasn't. And then I had to make the phone call back home, pack my shit up, just pack it up, put it in storage. I don't know when I'm coming back. And I didn't want to leave. I really didn't want to leave at all. And I'd love to go back. But there's really no communication with the man. He has no phone. He doesn't even have a house. He just walks and sleeps where people will take him. They're very well known in their general area. And so hospitality is very open to individuals like that. So it's weird. It's definitely weird. I would have never believed in any of that shit if I hadn't have seen it for myself, honestly.
So were you just homeless for those 4 years then?
Yeah. Yep. I was homeless, basically.
What was that like on a day-to-day basis?
It's a lot of meditation. So you get up in the morning at 5 a.m. and basically you will either go into a cell if there's one available. So it's just basically a small wooden hut with a cot, and you spend 14 hours in there. And then when you come out after 14 hours, you sit with your guru. He'll ask you a few questions. And if you answer them wrong, then, you're in shit. You might get hit with a stick or something and told to go back in the room until you figure it out. There's other lessons, like feeding people, like lessons would be one day is just feeding people. You find the food and you feed them. And that's it. And that's basically what karma yoga is. Karma yoga is just doing good things for other people. Jnana yoga is studying the texts, the scriptures, and getting close to God. And bhakti yoga is similar to Christianity, where you worship a deity. And then guru kripa is where you have a teacher, a guru.
Where does Kriya fit into that?
Where does what?
Kriya yoga?
I don't know. Never heard of it. There's Tantra yoga.
Yeah.
But there's so many different types of sects of yoga. Like there's even a type of yoga where where they're focused on the dead. And so basically they meditate on corpses. And that's a form. I think it's called Naga yoga.
That makes sense.
Bit
So
strange.
what did you do when you came back then? How did you know what to do?
I didn't really know what to do. I tried getting jobs. None of them ever seemed like something that was interesting anymore. Nothing seemed to drive me. So, here I am. This is what I'm doing now. I'm writing books. I'm teaching people. I'm a sadhu. I'm just wandering. I'm a wandering teacher.
Darren, you got any questions?
What is that, like, strictly online? Are you doing that in the community you're in, or how's that sort of? Are you just sort of leaving it to what sort of happens, or?
I follow my intuition. So I do. There's a big quote by Gandhi, and I kind of live by that quote. When Gandhi was leaving India, he was at a train station, and the people were all, Gandhi, don't leave us. Give us a message. Give us a message to the people. And Gandhi said, my life is my message. My life is my message. And that's kind of what I want to do. I just want to live my life, and my life is the message.
Yeah. And
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So can you, I saw a couple of your posts about like hitchhiker effects and stuff like that. So I'd like to ask you a little bit about like encounters. Let's say, I don't know if you want to call them demonic or incubus, succubus type stuff, nighttime encounters, like hitchhikers. I looked at your, the advice on hitchhikers, but would you call some of those other, like, and I don't know what label to call them, but they're real, whatever they are. And would you have the same advice for trying to help people through like nighttime encounters, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, in Hinduism, we don't really call them, demons or angels or anything like that. Mainly, we just call them beings with no body. It's just a being with no body. And my guru used to talk to them all the time, constantly talking to beings with no body. He taught me how to do it. I've done it. Things that I didn't even realize from my past. Like when I was 8 years old, 1986, in Napanee, Ontario, that's where I grew up. We had a big field behind our house, and the Napanee River ran at the end of that field. And a bunch of buddies of mine, just two of them, they were brothers, and they were next door neighbors. We were down playing by the river, and we'd come out of an apple orchard, just a natural orchard, right? One that wasn't actually pruned. And we were running along the river, and we were catching frogs or looking for turtles. And I looked up and I said, "Do you see?" And my friends completed the sentence. And there was I would say it was about 40 feet long. And it was like an elongated rock, smooth, like a river rock. And it was gray with a little bit of speck in it. Like if you turn a river rock in the light, it kind of speckles with mica or whatever's in it. It was like that. And it made no sound. And then the inside of my stomach started to vibrate. Like an electric shock. If you've ever tried to unhook a stove or something like that, and you get a little bit of a shock, it was like that. And I blacked out. And my parents found us about 2.5 hours later, just wandering around the field. And the only thing I can remember from that event is the number 108. It was like embedded into my forehead. And I had no idea what it meant. I had no clue. But for the rest of my life, I would constantly be obsessed with the number. I even had my license plate put into Wilde 108, just because of that event, without even knowing what it means. And
it's such an important number. I mean, holy, right? What a number to come away obsessed with. I mean, out of all numbers.
And I got to India, and he told me what it meant. And he knew about it. He knew about it.
What did it mean?
It's the most sacred number in Hinduism. One stands for one God. 0 stands for emptiness, which is where you get in meditation. And then the 8 is in the infinity sign turned on its side. So infinity stands for the constant cycle of samsara, which is reincarnation.
but it also fits into the great years and all that too, right? Two of those is 216. Double that again,
Mhm.
it's 432, and then
Yep.
that gets into
That's
432.
also how hard drives work. 260
Yep.
isn't hard drives 216 too? Or is it
I think so.
264? Maybe it's 264 and 5.
256, I think. 256.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what it meant. And it all started to click, right? As my life progressed, everything started to click into place, and all these loose ends started to peel together. So whatever that rock was, or that flying rock, I have no idea what it was. I don't know if it was bad. I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it gave me the number or something else intervened and gave me the number. You know what I mean? I don't know if
Were
it
they
was
blacked out too? Were your friends blacked out too?
totally blacked out. The one brother, he won't talk about it. If you try to talk to him, he cries. He just cries, and he runs into his bedroom, and you can't find him. Yeah, it's really, really affected him. We don't have any clue a story from him. He's never told it.
Were any of you hypnotized or regressed back to that moment to see if it was some abduction account?
I have. I've hypnotized myself. I can't. It just can't.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get it.
So what if the body, the no body, the beings with no body are like, I don't know if you want to use the word evil, or they attack, they hurt. Like how do you just how do you just talk? How do you get out of your fear to talk to them, or to send them love, or whatever you need to do to get to dissolve that?
Yeah, you have to believe in a higher power. So, I mean, you have to actually believe in something that's higher than you. If you don't believe in something higher than you, good luck getting rid of it. You know, not unless you start a meditation practice. And if you do, soon enough, you'll find out that there is a higher power. But if you don't believe in one, what's going to make you do the meditation in the first place? These things will attach on. I don't know if they feed off of our emotions, but I would say they probably do. You know, the old loosh farming type thing.
Yeah.
Some of them feed off positivity. Some of them feed off negativity. But if you do have a higher power, I mean, all you have to do is say their name. That's all you have to do. Say it in your mind.
Did either of those brothers end up like going to India, or something similar to what you ended up doing? Because
nope,
it seems related, right?
Yeah, they didn't get 108. The other brother didn't get it, and the one brother won't say anything.
It's worth mentioning that distance from the Earth to the Sun is 108 times the Sun's diameter. The Sun's diameter is 108 times Earth's diameter. The distance from the Earth to the Moon is 108 times the Moon's diameter. And the Moon's diameter is 1/108th of the Sun's diameter.
Pretty interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and
still
the weird thing
imprinted.
is you can get into the bigger planets, and it seems like as you start to scale them, they're out a little bit more. It gets closer to 109 and stuff like that, which I still argue with Randall is just like a flaw in the measuring. He says he thinks we're measuring it pretty good, but I still think pretty good when you're talking about hundreds of millions of miles is probably still not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, even if you look at the Catholic Rosary, there's 108 beads on it as well. And they got it specifically from the Mala in Dharma. So from Buddhism and Hinduism. I mean, all religions are the exact same. They're all identical. No matter which way you look at it, you can try to differentiate between them, but they're all the same. They all have the same message. They all have the same underpinnings. They all talk of a flood story. They all talk of beings coming here and then leaving. It's all the same. I would imagine the most original story comes from Sumeria. You know, the ancient Anunnaki stories, the Oannes, the Apkallu, all of those beings. Were they actual beings that were half reptile or giants? I don't know, man. But it would be more reasonable to believe that they were survivors of a previous civilization, and they somehow washed up on shore. They look a bit different, you know, and they can teach things that these people probably had no effing clue about. And that's why you see civilization rise in literally a month.
So they might even still have some tech left over that last, it's like if the shit went down today and I just happened to be in a lucky spot where my shit ain't totally trashed, it's like I got my guns, I got my truck, I got, maybe this my boat, maybe some of this stuff
Yep.
is still good and usable, but
Yep.
I can't recreate it. You can
That's
only
right.
patch it up for so long. The parts system is completely gone. So it's like, maybe if I'm lucky, my grandkids get to see the boat.
You got it.
But
You
my
got it.
great grandkids, they just see the dust where the boat used to be, and now we're back to like
Mhm.
carving things that look like the boat out of wood and trying to mimic the
Yep.
boat or mimic this or mimic that.
That's it. I mean, if you look back, some of the most ancient books, like 3,000 years old, you have the Vimana Puranas, which basically tell you how a Vimana runs. Do you guys know what a Vimana is?
Yeah, well, and I was going to mention specifically because Enoch seems to talk about flying around and seeing the earth from up high.
Yep, that's exactly it. They even talk about spinning Mercury, vortexes of Mercury that power the Vimanas. That's how they fly. They actually tell you that you need to use consciousness to fly the craft. They write it out. It's an actual technical manual. It's messed up. They actually go right through the whole thing on how the thing works to a rudimentary level, right? To go on to your point, Darren, is that they probably didn't really know how it worked.
Yeah, they had no idea what that, that guy was kind of trying to tell it to them, but then it's like broken telephone for a couple of 100 years.
That's it. That's it. And then eventually it's lost and it becomes a piece of archaeological evidence that we might dig up, or maybe we have dug up and we don't know.
Or modern UFO phenomena where they say that these sporting crafts get controlled by the mind. I mean,
that's right. Yeah. I think we made them. I think a lot of us made them in the past, and we're trying to say that someone else made them. Maybe they did. Maybe they helped us. I guess you really had to be there, And I wish I was. I really wish I was. I'm surprised they haven't remote viewed some of that stuff. Remote view what happened in Sumeria.
What about well, I'm sure they have. What about the is there any remnants from prehistory that kind of like, it would seem like it's a remnant from prehistory that started up all these religions, and they just got sort of spun up in different ways over time, depending on how but what about, have you gotten and found anything that sort of maybe what's the guiding principle? I mean, other than the the ones that everyone's going to assume, but there seems to be some allegory in there. There seems to be some astrotheology in there. There's some cosmology hidden in there. There's a lot of, so what are we actually trying to say at the end of the day? Because I would argue that every religion has it misconstrued almost completely.
I think they do too. I think they do too. There's always something that's misconstrued, especially if you're basing your entire religion on something that was verbally handed down. Do you know what I mean? It's just like telephone. Eventually when you get the writing for it, when you can write it down, is it the exact story that was given to them verbally, or orally, thousands of years before they learned how to write it down? It probably changed, right? The story did probably change. But one thing is constant, and that's the flood. The flood is a constant that stays in every single religious text, and it is the one thing that seems to bring them all together.
And non-religious texts, like all the mythology and stuff like that.
And science too.
That's right. Yeah.
And
something
science,
happened.
Theology, so we also match that with science. So.
But nobody's willing to look at it in that lens, right? I guess it's pretty hard to get the evidence, right? I mean, no matter how hard you try, if there was evidence, I mean, tectonic plate movement, if there was a civilization that, let's say, is somewhere after the dinosaurs, it's gone. I mean, you're never going to find it, even if they did have tech. Do you know how hard it is to actually?
I would argue that we found it.
I would say we did
one
too.
of them. We found at least one of them. We've got Göbekli Tepe, we got pyramids, we got Easter Island, we got Cusco in Peru. That is very clearly. I mean, if you're paying attention and you're being like, and you're not being, if you're not lying to yourself, it's impossible to attribute those things to the agreed upon timeline.
We also have what's it called there, Deriyaku, the underground city in Turkey, that houses up to 40,000 people. And then you also have the Longzhou caves in China that were just found, I think, 20 years ago. And they literally show no evidence of anyone living there, but it is humongous. It was meant for someone to live there. They just never did. And I imagine we'll find more and more of these. I mean, look at the pyramids. So what they're finding now with those scans from satellites, right? That's looking like it's actually something there. You know, it looks pretty real.
Yeah. Tunnels from Scotland to Turkey underground.
Well, that's without even factoring in like lava tubes and stuff like that, which would be a natural thing to do. You know, if we knew today that the shit was going down, we would fill up them cities you're talking about. We would start building stuff, which we are. You know, there's a huge paper trail for deep underground military bases. They're sinking all kinds of money into that. And, you know, there's, I forget where I was going with that, but I lost my heading.
Well, it's like they're preparing for something. And I think they are, whatever that is. A lot of people talk about this geophysical event. You know, you have Ben Davidson talking about.
Yeah, it's really spinning up now, too. Like it's really starting to spin up. It's but one of the things we would do is we'd go fill up them lava tubes. You know, it's just a natural thing of, hey, Easter Island's full of them, Azores are full of them. Where else in the world is full of these lava tubes? I mean, that's because you can actually seem to grow some stuff in there. It stays out of there. Because the interesting thing about Ben Davidson and Robert Schoch, they really seem to think that you got to be able to hide from that sun for at least a week, and that's just a guess. I mean, if you're building a whole underground city, it might be longer than that. It might be, you know, it could be on and off for a little while.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm up in the northern hemisphere, so it's like I'm hoping I can just hide behind a hill.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, right? Totally agree. Yeah, if that happens, I'm totally dead here in Ontario. I'll be underwater.
Just shade all day long behind a hill.
I'm in the new Valley of the Sun, so
that's true.
We'll see what happens. But when you look at ethical skeptic stuff, it looks like Venezuela might be the spot to be. But I don't think any of that. So probably none of Venezuela is very elevated, though, right? But
I don't think so.
He's got that as being the X of the spin. So if you're on the X, that means you're not getting 1,000-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah. But the water's still going to slosh back. So
and then you got to ask yourself, do you really want to live?
Well, you got to live, because otherwise at that point it becomes just about propagation than a personal thing. You know what I mean? It's like we're the descendants of some motherfuckers that got through this thing maybe a couple of times. So, you know, it'd be nice to keep that bloodline going, because you're talking about bloodlines that go back past that. And, you know, some of them bloodlines ended then, and some of these bloodlines are going to end now. So it's just like, it's almost like, you know, as much as it's going to suck, it's like this weird sort of responsibility you have to take another crack at it.
Yep. Totally hear you.
I mean, it seems like that Y chromosome bottleneck is almost impossible to explain other than they knew the shit was happening. Yep. They knew that the math is a dude for every 20 chicks is the best way to propagate this thing forward. You know, it's like, you know, we might not like it. Chicks don't like it, but a dude with 20 wives compared to one-on-one, you can actually go forward with less people. If you only get to pick 1,000 people to repopulate the thing and you go 50-50, you know, your odds are not good.
No, but you need 51% women.
Yeah. So, but if you go 95% women, those men can just keep impregnating and impregnating, and you keep these lines, and you have to do these arranged marriages because you got to watch for inbreeding and all this sort of stuff. And
you end up with the Rothschilds.
How these things end up in the different religions and stuff like that.
So you think they left the guys off the ark then? Is that what it is?
Yeah, right.
They left the guy. That's my position, is they left the guys off the ark.
You want to know else? Something really interesting is that the gene that makes us white didn't appear until 8,000 years ago. That's when it appeared, right around
melatonin blocker, since you had melanin blocker since you had no access to vitamin D in the sun anymore.
There's a lot of arguments that say that it was because diet, right? Diet is kind of how we turned white. But if you look at you know, Inuit populations that have lived in the north, they have the exact same diet as Scandinavians, identical, but yet their melanin didn't change, and they lived longer.
So are you thinking we came from underground then, or like we came from hiding?
It's a theory.
Basically, the theory is we made our way underground to survive, and
Mm-hmm.
our gene expression changed because we weren't
Yep.
in the sun at all.
It's a theory.
Yeah.
It's just a loose theory.
Yeah.
Just something I kicked around. I mean,
and it would make sense. It would make sense that some of those places you're A, underground for a while, and then B, there's just no sun in the atmosphere for a long time.
Yep.
It's got to take a long time.
And there's only 3% of us
It's got to
on
take
planet Earth. That's it. 3%.
Because I mean, you look at these Irish bastards, and those guys can't even like go in the sun. You know, that's not. It's not. You go in the sun, you get burned, and they don't even. You guys don't even seem to be able to build it up. You know, it's like I might get burned the first time I go out if I stay inside for a while, and in the summer I go out, I'll get burned once. But
it's my eyes.
That's
my eyes are so blue that I have to wear sunglasses even on an overcast day. Otherwise, I'll get a headache from the sun because my eyes collect too much light because they're light. They're meant to be in a low light environment. That's where blue and green eyes come from. Low light.
I was just watching a thing last night or the night before that was talking about how blue eyes were a mutation, but it would seem more like they were an adaptation.
Green are a mutation. Green is the rarest eye color in the world. There's a very, very low percentage, like 1%.
I have the green ones that change color. That seem to be more suited to that, because I was watching the video and they say that if you have the green and the hazel, they'll actually, depending on the lighting and depending on where you are, they start to adjust for better things. And they're saying it's like perfectly suited for the plains and the mountains and stuff like that.
And they sparkle. They sparkle good too.
Yeah. It's perfect for where I'm hunting. I mean, it makes a ton of sense because you're out in all sorts of daylight. You're out in the sun. You're out in.
That's right. And I'm assuming you're indigenous.
Yeah. The Lakota used to spend time staring at the sun.
Yeah. So did the Indians. They called it sun gazing. That's how they got their sustenance. There are gurus that still only get their sustenance from the sun. They don't drink and they don't eat. They just stare at the sun. I've seen them do it. It's fucked up. They're really skinny.
You just barely get by on sunlight.
Probably pretty wise, though.
We had a past guest that was going to try that. I wonder if she's still alive.
Right? Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's not my thing. That's for sure.
No,
so
no.
I do want to get back to my question about the protecting yourself or that, because I need to dig into that a little bit more. So, So if you believe in a higher power like Jesus, for example, you would say something like, in the name of Jesus or whatever. Yeah. And that seems
or just say God loves me. Yeah, Jesus loves me. That's it.
But the problem is that to get to that point where you can even say anything.
Yeah, you want to know how to tell? I'll tell you exactly how to tell.
Well, because you're so scared that you're either frozen or you can't even like articulate a sentence, or like, how do you get to the point where you can actually say, like consciously say anything?
You can do it. You can do it no matter what. You might think you can't, but you can. Another easy way to tell is when they start saying things to you or giving you imprints, like downloads, be careful if they tell you you're special. When they tell you you're special, you're the only one getting this, you are the one, they're a crock of shit.
They're just a crock of shit. I mean, what if it's just like nasty physical violence?
They usually don't do that. I mean, they don't have a body. Pretty hard to do. They usually do things to your mind, your psyche. They make you depressed. They make you anxious. They make you want to kill yourself.
Well, maybe we're not talking about the same thing then. So what about like an incubus, succubus type thing?
They have no body.
Okay.
Yeah, like a djinn or an incubus, things like that. Yeah, they're not actually physical. If it was physical, say an abduction or something like that, I don't think there's anything you can fucking do.
Right.
Just pound the shit out of them.
Yeah.
That might be all you got.
Yeah.
But you're pretty much helpless.
So how do you stop them from manipulating your mind into thinking that because that's got to be the way they're getting in there, is they're overpowering your subconscious to make themselves appear real or something like that.
They're playing with your ego. They play with your ego. That's it. That's all they do. They play with your ego. They play with things that you're attached to. So like I talked about attachments and then things that you push away, they'll use those. They'll use them against you. But they may use them as enticing, like if you do this, I'll do this. Or I'll give you this if you do this.
The
or you're
deal with the
very
devil.
special.
Yeah, the deal
Yeah.
with the devil. Right? That's where it comes from, probably. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real easy to discern when they start saying you're special, because they will. That's one of the lines they use all the time, if you want to call it a line. And that's the give. That's the giveaway right there. And if you're curious whether they're good or bad and they're being some real tricky, ask them how they feel about Krishna. You know, say, I love Krishna. How do you feel about him? They'll run like hell. They'll disappear. Whatever it is, they're terrified of these beings.
Okay,
Or
that's good.
something.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell. But I do know they run.
Yeah, I remember we had a guy on one of my favorite episodes. His name was Greg Doyle, but he was fighting in the astral realm of all these things. And I mean, in the end, after like a week-long fight with like a hag, it ended up being love, right? That ended up destroying it. Like once he was able to express love to her, it just like that's what stopped it in the end. So it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth based on my experience in those inner realms. So, I mean, it could be completely different, but I spent a long time with this dude in the jungle, and guy knew his shit, man. He knew his shit. And he explained a lot of this of what I'm explaining to you. Yeah. Just I'm explaining it in a Western sense.
Yeah, one of the masters.
He was definitely a master.
Can I ask you some high level kind of questions about our modern day kind of challenges and
yeah, shoot.
So I guess there's one thing that I'm seeing. I just wonder. I'm going to try to articulate it, but I'd love to know what your thought is, especially coming from the Hindu, the religions like you talk about, where everything is one, and it's kind of like there's one overarching kind of deity, and how we express ourselves as God, or like there's that thing where you are God kind of thing, right? Well, there seems to be a bit of a pushback right now from people that think that that there's this one religion is trying to kind of take over the world, kind of like how that there's sort of some evil intentions behind the Rosicrucians and Blavatsky and all. It's like there's a whole thing like that they are trying to bring in this one religion to like, take over the world.
Yeah.
So have you noticed that at all, like a bit of a pushback, and not necessarily from a Christian point of view, but I do have a question about that later, but sort of more about actually, no, that's the same thing, because the Christians are also saying like, no, you don't have to believe in Jesus. Like you're not God, right? So there seems to be a conflict between the New Age kind of like Hindu type style compared to
like more of a spirituality rather than an organized religion.
Yeah,
they're dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. It's where you get a lot of cults, right? You can see cults coming out all the time. I mean, all you have to do is look at UFO Twitter. You've got people that say their dead mom talks to aliens and they have all the answers, or there's a galactic federation and they're coming to save you. And like, come on, man, like cut the horse shit. Like I'll eat a goldfish live on TV if that's true. If the Galactic Federation is real. I don't think it is. I mean, it just seems ridiculous. Plus, you've got certain religions that might even be a cult altogether.
Right.
I mean, if one man goes into a cave and gets a vision and comes out and that creates a religion, but there's no one else there to experience the divine, there were no witnesses, that's a cult.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, that's what I think they don't take into consideration, is that's why there is masters and gurus and people to learn. Like that's why you have to go through, I think, an initiation before you kind of start playing around with this stuff.
Definitely.
So I think they just sort of put that aside and think that like I think Blavatsky and Theosophy, which is based on a lot of the stuff you're talking about, gets a bad rap for what's happening in places like the UN today. I don't really think there's a direct like kind of lineage to that, but I wondered if you have any thoughts about that.
If there's a lineage between
like the UN one world religion to Blavatsky and Theosophy,
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a push for a one religion, and I don't even think it's going to be a religion. It's going to be a government. It'll be a one world government that you will worship, much like North Korea, much like North Korea's leader, what's his name? Kim Jong-un, where he is the supreme leader. And it'll go that way. but it's not going to go in the way that you think. It's going to go in a way that will be transhumanist. The transhumanist agenda is almost upon us. We're getting very close to having BCIs being installed on just a regular person, not somebody with disabilities or mobility issues. You're going to have people connected to the internet through their brain, and then you're going to have people augmenting their bodies. You're going to have uploaded consciousness, and then you're going to have people that live forever in an augmented body, in a fake consciousness that lives in the cloud. True story is exactly where we're going.
So is that the beehive?
It might be. Maybe it is. Maybe that is the hive. But I think we're going to see a split in humanity where you're going to see some choose not, and most will choose to do it.
Is that the mark of the beast? So like how are you going to navigate that decision? How do you rule out that it's not our greater purpose?
I meditate on it, and then I let my intuition decide. Spend my whole life is just let my intuition decide.
Where's it going right now?
It says no fucking way.
Yeah. which is perfect.
My intuition is too, right? Mm-hmm. That seems to be, but we all have that same intuition probably when the same thing sort of happened. I'd imagine that we probably align on thinking all the way down the.
I bet we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
but that kind of leads me into my other question about like what's happened since I've noticed it, especially since COVID. Like I was kind of new agey in the 2010s and. Going through my recovery and all that stuff, the higher power stuff, all that, embracing all this like searching and but then after COVID, it seemed to split even the new agey thing, the yoga community, all this stuff. And because I always thought when you do this much meditation, like you're doing, for example, that you are able to discern the truth, or at least discern what's not true, right? I mean, getting to the real truth is a little bit different than discerning like propaganda or not true. But it still shocks me. Like we have these guests on, and they're sort of more from the new agey type, and you can tell they're just stuck in this paradigm of like, I would say it's the transhumanist paradigm, really. They won't say it's transhumanism, but they're okay with the tyranny that's happening, with the authoritarianism that they're kind of shilling for it in a lot of ways. So, and it seems like the schism happened after COVID. Like some people just fell for everything, and then some people were like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, I think you're going to see more and more people falling for it. More and more and more and more are going to fall for it as we continue to move along. Everything is becoming a state that is censored, right? So, I mean, even look at our own CBC, CTV, you look at the BBC, you look at CNN, you look at Fox, they all have their one dimensionality, right? No one actually gives you the news anymore. When they actually used to come in with no emotion and they would read the news, just the news. Remember that? It's a long fucking time ago, but it did happen. I'm not
convinced it ever happened.
Right. Yeah, maybe it didn't. Maybe that was an illusion.
Yeah, I think that is an illusion. I think that it was just at the time what choice do we have? There was probably, for every news story, there was somewhere between a couple to a couple of hundred people to maybe a couple thousand that knew the fucking truth. But the chances of them ever getting out, I mean, we see some of them, right? You see some of these people back in the 80s and 90s that we just thought were total fucking whack jobs. But if you can extrapolate that forward to Twitter and Facebook today, and they're all that guy. And it turns out that almost all the shit they're saying is true to a certain extent, or at least more true than these news organizations are telling us. You're right. I've kind of graduated to the thing that I sort of still give them the benefit of the doubt on history, but I'm even sort of slipping on that they just always fucking knew. I mean, seems to be clear evidence that they knew what was going on in the Arctic back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah. They knew which books they didn't want to include in the Bible. They're like, this one's maybe not that one. So it seems like somebody knew history's bullshit, and the news, I just assumed it was a level of naivety in it. And it's like they tend to include just enough truth in to make it, I don't know why, but there does seem to be a level of reveal in it as well. Maybe not in every newscast, it's a lot of bullshit, but from the overarching view, there's just sort of this in the movies and the pop culture and this these breadcrumbs they've been
Yeah.
leaving along the way that we've sort of been following, which could circle back to them trying to, because at the end of the day, and you can tell me if you agree or not, but this tends to just sort of lend back to that. If you can control the masses to a point, that's why the masses become important, because if you can get enough of them to agree with your version of reality, then it's going to start to manifest on earth.
That's right.
Yeah, so you can like,
yeah,
you can't change reality by yourself, but if you can get your cult big enough, now you can. Now you can start to actually change the structure
right.
and direction of reality.
And what do we know about dominant cultures? They make the rules. They make the rules.
Do they know?
Oh yeah, they know.
So is that why you think that we're going to lose people instead of gaining people? Because I kind of think that I flip flop back and forth, but part of me thought that after COVID we had sort of gained some momentum on people kind of waking up. But are you thinking that we're losing more people towards that then? Towards the
Yep, I think we're losing more and more to propaganda, more and more to fakeness, more and more to the illusion, more and more every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't believe people are waking up. I believe they're sleeping more.
That's interesting.
Is that through the mainstream control mechanism, or do you think they're just coming up with different offshoots of that to grapple up different people, so that like there's not one narrative anymore, there's 1,000 narratives, but they're all just different strokes for different folks?
That's right. Yep, 100%.
So like, sorry to use like a real modern example, but like let's say the Epstein files. Is that not going to wake people up, or is that going to just put people to sleep?
It can't wake people up, because you'll never know what was in them. You just won't. I mean, we have all these Epstein files, but what have we gotten out of it?
Or if they're even real. I mean, it could all just be.
No, but I'm just assuming that I'm kind of going on the assumption that like it's somewhat real. I mean, it's the same thing we've talked about for years. So
yeah, I mean,
it sort of seems to like solidify the conspiracy theories, I guess.
It does.
So
even though we'll never
enough?
really know. We'll never really know what was in it. We'll never know the details, and no one will ever be arrested. There will be no consequences for anyone in those pictures. Not one.
No, I agree with that. But wouldn't that wake people? Isn't that sort of an event? I guess what I'm getting at is that what Darren was talking about, that now they're feeding us all these things to kind of take us
wake people
somewhere
up.
else, right? Yeah.
It should wake them up.
But if it does, it's just going to be into the next. It's like a cocooning them into the next control mechanism, is what it starts to seem like. Because it's just starting to get weird. It's starting to get like group thinky all over the place. You know, you can see how it's like, you know, all right, well, we can't get these guys with COVID, we can't get them with this, but I got a fucking idea.
But even if you did wake them up, I mean, what is the consequence of waking up? What does that look like? We all want it, but do we actually know what it looks like? It's ugly. It's bloody, it's ugly, and it's a civil war.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's what waking up is.
I almost feel like it's inevitable in a lot of ways, that they're pushing us towards that. And I think almost not realizing the danger of revolution, you know, like that's not... Like I was thinking recently about how like those of us who just want to go back to like common sense, kind of small government with some freedom, but laws and accountability, that kind of stuff. It's like, that's a counter revolution right now. I mean,
that's what I would like.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up in.
But that's like, I know exactly. It feels like, can't we just get back to that?
Yeah.
That feels like a counter revolution. So very strange.
I wish.
Yeah.
And maybe it will be that after the blood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see our future living in small communities that are broken.
Yeah.
You know, fractured communities.
Yeah.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
I think most of us can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like we're out of rope. It seems like we're out of rope on whatever this system is. It seems like they probably know it. I mean, aside from all the other shit that went on during COVID, it's sort of just, you can look at it as just sort of a giant wealth extraction exercise where they're just trying to squeeze as much out of this dying system as they can, because whatever's coming next is you know, you need assets, not money. So the money's got to turn into shit that you can sell, or
That's right.
whatever that's going to look like.
You just look at it real simple. I mean, we're in the red, right? We are not in the black as a country. And we keep paying for services that put us more into the red because we want to keep the illusion that we have everything under control. What really needs to happen is everybody needs to take a cut in their pay. Everybody needs to go down to make this sustainable. Some of those programs that we put money into that put us into the red, they need to go. They have to go. We need to come up with another solution because, I mean, if this was your own personal bank account, you would be done. You'd be bankrupt. You'd be finished. Your whole household would be done. But because we're a country, we just keep going in the red, and they up taxes and they up everything so we can keep paying for services that don't even really exist anymore.
Is that an organic slide? Does that happen? Do you think is that part of our evolution as civilization?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it feels organic to me, like we just have to go through this. Like,
yeah,
as things grow, they just get out of control. It stops actually being able to do stuff, to make changes. It just sort of, yeah.
They never thought Rome would fall.
Yeah, right.
They never did. My grade 10 history teacher, he told me, he said, every boom has a bust. And this is the bust.
It's a cycle.
Mm-hmm. Pattern.
It might be just a cycle that is inherent to democracy. I mean, there's a chance that you could have kingdoms and empires last for a lot longer, but it seems like the cycle of democracy is once they figure out they can bribe the public with their own money, it's just a matter of time.
Yep. Unless they want to hold on to it with power and violence.
Well, that's the natural next step. That's why that's sort of the beauty of a place like Canada, where disintegration seems almost inevitable compared to the US is sort of destined to slip into empire, maybe UK to a lesser extent. Europe's going back to kings and queens, it seems like. Australia, probably some sort of weird socialist empire, Maoist or Lenin-like.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going to happen with the US, but Canada seems like disintegration, sort of like Russia's doing right now. I like to use Russia as the example. We interviewed a guy that was, I think, 150 miles or 200 miles out of Moscow, and he was like, the power don't always work, but he's like, they can make whatever laws they want because nobody's ever coming out here to enforce them. Everything is voluntary once you're outside of the city center.
That's good.
Are you still writing for heavy metal?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that magazine going? I mean, that movie had I remember I was just thinking about it because thinking about the interview with you, and I remember having my buddy's dad took us all out there when we were kids.
Yeah. It's
so
cool.
We were 11, I think, at the time we saw that movie, and it had a strange effect on me. I was like, oh my God.
I know, right?
Yeah, kind of somewhat traumatized from it or whatever. Who knows? But
yeah, they shoot me like a little dossier, right? They'll say, hey, can you write this is the general topic, and just write me a dossier. So I'll write like 4 or 5 of them, and then they just pick one.
Awesome. So that's still online. Like that's the heavy metal.
Yeah.
That's the old, based on the old movie, or I guess the movie was probably based on
the magazine.
Magazine.
Yeah. It's been around a long time, since the 60s. Yeah.
That's cool to see.
Pretty wild. Yeah. It's fun. It's just something I do for a little bit of extra money. It doesn't pay the bills or anything, but
Yeah.
It's fun.
What else do you got? I'd love you to mention your books too. Your Codex of Infinite Beings. I mean, that seems like super fascinating.
Check out these bad boys, right? Like,
holy, that's awesome.
These are basically just an encyclopedia of every mythology from every single culture on Earth. I mean, I couldn't add them all, but I added pretty much all of them. It's 2 volumes. There's 2 books.
Yeah. The unbroken line between ancient gods and modern visitors. Whew, awesome.
It's like an encyclopedia for deities, entities, cryptids. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Interesting. What else? Is there anything we missed? What are you up to? Anything we didn't get to?
Meditations on YouTube, maybe?
Yeah, I got some. I got about 600 guided meditations and hypnosis. I usually focus on things like sleep, helping people fall asleep. But I do some weird esoteric stuff too, like astral projection, out of body experiences, connecting with ETs. I have remote viewing exercises, all kinds of different things that you can play around with and increase your awareness, right? That's what I would suggest for anyone is, if you're getting into meditation, do some guided meditation first. It gives you an idea of what meditation is like. And eventually you'll get better and better and better until you don't need any words at all. You just quiet your mind and you turn off and you become nothing. And when you become nothing, you see everything.
There you have it.
Well said. Yeah.
Jason Wilde, thanks for coming on the show. Where can people find all your stuff? We'll put it all in the show notes, of course, but for the people that don't make it that far, we encourage the URLs here.
Yeah, you can mainly find me generally on X or Twitter, and it's just Jason Wilde 108.
With an E.
That's right, with an E.
Yeah,
Like
we should do this
Oscar.
again. I'd love
man.
to catch up with you again. This has been great.
Yeah, and it's nice having a Canadian connection for once. Usually I'm on a podcast from the States or Ireland or Scotland or somewhere like that, but it's nice having some good old boys here. And Graham, it's nice to have that mutual connection there that we talked about.
Oh yeah. I had some crazy experiences on Bowen Island, man. We went to that labyrinth.
Pretty nice. Everyone talks about it.
And there was it was raining everywhere except in the labyrinth. It was like there was a bubble over the labyrinth.
That's where that big tree is too. That big giant tree.
Yeah.
Opa or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
No plans to leave Ontario?
Yeah, lots of plans to leave Ontario. Yep, it is too bloody cold for me here. I will probably end up in Texas, maybe Washington, maybe back in British Columbia. But it will be a more temperate rainforest environment for me. That is what my soul calls for. And that's, I think, where I need to be, is in the mountains. That's my life.
Nice.
Perfect. Jason Wilde, this has been fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show, and come back anytime.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Take care.
Yeah.
Have a good day. And that was a chat with Jason Wilde, hypnotherapist and Sadhu. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
A fun one, huh?
Yeah.
That was a good one. You mentioned him, and you sent me a post of his, I think, and then it turned out that he was following us on Twitter. So I was like, oh, yeah. Might as
I
well
don't
have
know if he's following me yet. He's following you, which is good. Yeah.
Well, you're like a lunatic on there. So, see, I come across your stuff all the time screaming at people.
Not being very compassionate.
A lot of
No, I try not to call people names and stuff. I just try to be objective. But
some whataboutisms.
some whataboutisms for sure.
Classic Grimerica Outlaw on Twitter. Give him a follow. Of course, we're just Grimerica. Check it all out. Check out our new Grimerica Radio on Spotify. Way to support the show. Sleep to the show. Just interviews, no intros or anything like that. Just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of interviews. It'll be over 1,000 when it's done. So check that out. Contact@thecabin.com for trips and events. We still got room for Easter Island. 4 spots left for Easter Island coming up. We got room for our summer solstice event at Serpent Mound. I'll be presenting. We'll be doing a CAC there. I'll be presenting, and it looks like they want me to interview the Serpent Mound guy under the main stage at some point as well. They just emailed me about that this week. So we're going to be, it looks like we'll be pretty involved with this Serpent Mound festival out there. So come hang out with us. Have a time. This is, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or 3 even. You can hang out with us, festival thing, check out a CAC, all that. Have lodging right next to because we're right next to this place. So you don't have to be miles away. You can just have a campsite with us right next door. Eat all Oliver's delicious food. I don't know what he's going to feed us yet, but it's always going to be good. And if you're in Eastern Ontario, I've seen 100% Canadian maple stirrup in the chats. Congratulations, buddy. And I think it's pretty quick to rip down there, right? If you're in like Ontario, not the Finger Lakes, the
Serpent Mound.
It's kind of over on that side more, right?
I think so. Yeah.
It's Ohio.
I don't know what if ripping down there is
doable.
It's doable, but let's see here. It's right below. Oh yeah, Mississauga. That's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Ohio just butts up against Ontario, right? Yeah.
I don't. Did they actually touch? I think Michigan's in the way.
No,
Michigan and
they touch.
Minnesota.
Yeah, they touch. Yeah.
So there you go. Ontario, Quebec people, come on down, hanging with us at the Serpent Mound. Adultbrain.ca for all the audiobooks. I actually just got a message from a friend of the show, Keith, in the UK, that said he really liked the Adam and Eve and the Great Reset. He just listened to it on audio, said it was a banger, so check that out. A couple good ones on there for sure. Some nice short ones just came out lately, so check out that, adultbrain.ca. I'll leave it at that. Check out GrammaricOutlaw.ca for our other podcast. Other than that, we love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.